And to Alice now, where work is continuing to restore natural gas service. This after a pipeline was said to be accidentally ruptured by a farmer near Agua Dulce. And it turns out that was the main line that feeds into the city of Alice, affecting, they say, about half of all the homes and restaurants in the city that often rely on natural gas to cook with. Our Bill Churchwell has the update tonight from Alice.
Now, this is something that's affecting about 50% of the businesses here in Alice, and parking lots that are usually booming during the lunchtime hour have been left empty.
We're just hungry.
One restaurant after another forced to close their doors here along Main Street in Alice. Customers greeted with posted signs apologizing for the inconvenience.
It's the first here for Alice, and it just kind of, catches by surprise.
It was Monday when a break in the main natural gas pipeline for the city left an estimated 3,500 CenterPoint Energy customers without service.
And that is probably about a little over half the town.
City Manager Michael Esparza says he's been in contact with CenterPoint and they are working to restore service, but it is a tedious process that could take days because every meter will have to be turned on one at a time.
I mean, our community's been patient, and we understand that things like that happen, and so we're doing the best we can to keep everybody safe.
For now, it ultimately means the lunchtime crowd will get fewer options to choose from. IHOP posted up this sign offering customers 20% off if they go to their Kingsville location. But for the restaurants that remain open, it has been
Very busy.
places like Whataburger and Dairy Burger proved to be popular locations. Both restaurants said to use electric versus natural gas to cook, and that made for long lines.
Very, especially Dairy Burger. We've been here for like 45 minutes.
All the customers, no matter how big the line is, they're not angry, they're not mad, they're taking their time.
And this is something that could last a couple of more days. Reporting from Alice, I'm Bill Churchwell, 3 News.
Lots of patience there in Alice. All right, Bill, thanks.